Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this informational session on the student experience here at Syracuse University, and specifically about the Renée Crown University Honors Program. So we're very happy to have all of you here today on this. It's a beautiful evening here in Central New York. We hope it is for you wherever you might be as well. My name is Lisa Renée. I'm an Associate Director of Admissions here at SU, and I'm here to really moderate the conversation tonight. And as you can see in the boxes, here joining me this evening, we have Karen Hall from the Honors Program, who will really be leading the conversation, as well as we're very excited to have two current students in the Honors Program joining us to really share some of their experiences with you. And we'll have a chance to kind of meet everyone as we go throughout the presentation today. If you have questions along the way, that's great. You can use that Q&A box. The chat box is disabled, but you can use the Q&A box. My colleagues Tammy and Mike will be behind the scenes, and we may be kind of answering some of those by text chat one-on-one, or if it fits into maybe a later slide in the presentation, we will make sure to answer all of those questions. And of course, we'll have contact information at the end. So if you'd like to continue the conversation after this session tonight, we're happy to stay in touch with you that way. So just a little bit of how we'll spend our time together this evening. Karen, if you don't mind advancing that slide, I'll talk a little bit about kind of the broad picture of student life and campus life here at Syracuse. It's something that we're known for. Our students are here to really invest their time academically, but also to really invest in the many, many different campus life opportunities that we have. And we're known for having so many, and I'm sure the students can share their experiences too, but just a general overview, it's a diverse campus. It's something that we celebrate here. So we have students from all 50 states in the US and more than 160 countries around the world. And it's really important that you meet people who have similar experiences to yours, but maybe some very different experiences to yours as well. And that's a great dynamic in the classrooms, in the residence halls, really in the day-to-day experience that you have. So all told, we have more than 300 clubs and organizations here, everything from performance opportunities, club and intramural sports, student government, leadership opportunities, media and sort of creative outlets, performing arts, whatever that might be for you, and really the flexibility to create your own kind of experience here, whatever that might be. And as you get to know 2 or 3 or 4 students here, even this evening, they might have very different Syracuse experiences depending on how they spend their time. So obviously this is a way for you to have fun and have a great social experience, but also to make connections, to start networking, to hone your own leadership skills right here on campus in many different ways that you might find are very useful in your future careers, in addition to just having a great, well-rounded experience while you're here with us. Obviously, our Orange After Dark organizations, they provide late night entertainment for students, rec services, a ton of different fitness opportunities, in addition to those club and intramural sports, late night Zumba, all kinds of things. It's tricky to do everything. You really have to manage your time because we do offer you so many different options. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about community service. I think especially in the realm of honors and sort of that social justice and giving back that's so important to many of our students. We have organizations like Activism that works with families and women in particular in Guatemala and artisans, and they sell these beautiful handmade items in campus bookstores and various places around Syracuse. The Shackathon, as you see in the photo on the bottom left there, kind of a beloved annual tradition in cooperation with Habitat for Humanity in the city of Syracuse. So as you can see in that photo, all of our clubs and organizations, they sort of build basically tiny houses out on the quad, usually at the end of September when the weather's still warm. And those organizations kind of, members take turns sleeping in those little tiny houses. They raise funding and awareness for the local Habitat for Humanity chapter. So a great organization here in Central New York. So if you're interested in volunteering, but you're not quite ready for that commitment, that's okay. There are plenty of other opportunities for volunteering and really giving back on a local scale or maybe beyond that. Like in the case of Enactus, it's really on a global scale. I think we also do a great job bringing the world to campus. You know, it's not just about the things that you'll be doing. We bring speakers, industry leaders, performers, comedians, musicians, all kinds of great people here to our campus. And that might be in large scale events. It might be someone popping into your classroom and really everything in between. As you see in the photo there, Trevor Noah came to campus a few years ago. His book, Born a Crime, was the shared reading for our first year class that particular year. So everyone read that book, which is phenomenal. If you haven't read it, pick that up and read that. But he came to campus and kind of talked about his experiences professionally, but also growing up under apartheid. Really a tremendous experience for our students. I went to, that was a nice event that we had on campus. So we are in upstate New York, but I think we do a great job bringing the world here to campus so that you can really experience so many different opportunities while you're here, whether again, that's performing arts, whether it's media related, student government and leadership, giving back to your community and really beyond. So at this point, that was my kind of nice general overview of the things that you can get involved in. And I'd really like to hand it over to Karen Hall so she can tell you more about what we're here for tonight, the honors program and all the many opportunities that exist within that program. Karen?
Great, thanks, Lisa. So I want to build upon many of the things that Lisa said. I think that one of the greatest strengths of the honors program is the diversity and of students that you'll work with. If you're a part of the program, we have students from every school and college. And what we do is be a small home within a much larger institution. It's one of the things that I value most about Syracuse University, and I tell incoming students that you can be a relatively big fish in a relatively big pond. And the honors program is a way to help make that happen, because you can have some really close ties and connections with fellow students and with faculty mentors and staff as well. Students in the honors program enroll in fascinating discussion-based seminar courses that have a limit of 20 people per class. We have many special cultural and academic events. Lisa mentioned a number of the writers and exciting things that go on campus. Frequently when a guest is coming to campus, the honors program is tapped to say, hey, do you have some students who would be particularly interested in this speaker? And you get an opportunity to have a meal with them or a special Q&A session. As well, students are involved in cutting edge research in labs that are incredible, that are working on cures for cancer and Alzheimer's, as well as incredible audio-visual studios in Newhouse, and film making in VPA. So we have students in all kinds of programs. The program offers independent examination of ideas and original research, as I just started to speak about. It's collaborative. You work with other outstanding students. It's one of the best things about honors classes. When you're in an honors class, every student in the class is also in honors. It makes the classes go a little bit further, a little bit faster, and a little bit deeper. We also have an emphasis on global reflection and global diversity. And we ask students to have take a global course as well as have a global experience. Approximately 50% of our students will study abroad, and that will be their global experience. Other students will attain fluency in a language, or some will participate in civic engagement with the international populations here on campus and in the Syracuse community. And students, the program also highlights student-initiated events that catalyze the intellectual exploration that's going on in all that student research. There's one of our students who's studying abroad and looking happy. There's access to funding for professional development and for thesis research. And we work very hard to have all of our students identify a faculty mentor that will help them through the thesis process, and as well as into the step beyond the thesis, whether that's graduate school, professional school, or into the workplace. Our students are supported by an academic advising staff. I'm part of that, and there are 2 other advisors as well. And we help hook you up with the many opportunities that Lisa was listing, because it can be overwhelming. Some of the requirements for the honors program: you need to complete 4 honors classes and earn a B or higher in those 4 classes. You need to complete 50 hours of civic engagement over the course of your Syracuse career. It's not all in one semester, but over the whole career. And as I mentioned, that research, the culmination of that research is a thesis project that students spend 2 years on, starting in their junior year. And we ask that you maintain a 3.4 GPA cumulative average throughout. Some of the questions that we frequently get: how do I get to join? Some of you will be invited. If you're not invited, then you go to our website and you will find an application process. Students are definitely invited to apply, and we will look at your essays and get a cohort of approximately 300 students per year, making our total around 1,000. Because we try to get a representative number of students from all the schools and colleges, we don't look at particular numbers. We're not looking particularly at your GPA or at your SAT scores, but we're looking for a well-rounded cohort of intellectually curious, interested students. We do have an honors living learning community that I think the students can speak to. I think it's well loved. It's in the Sadler dorm, right by the Dome. There is no merit-based scholarship connected to the honors program. The only money funding that is connected to honors would be connected to research projects that you're doing and your senior thesis. We do have rolling admissions, so if you're not admitted in the fall semester, you can apply for the spring semester of your first year, and you can also apply in your second year. That was a little bit fast. Do we have questions?
No, that's great, Karen. I think we do have some great questions coming in. Maybe before we jump into those questions, we can have the students take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you're studying, where you're from, what year you are, maybe some other things that you're involved with on campus, and then we can start delegating some of these great questions that we have coming in.
Mallory, do you want to go first?
Sure, I can go. So my name is Mallory Carlson. I am a rising sophomore. I'm from Olney, Maryland, which is about an hour outside of DC. I am a dual major studying marketing in Whitman and public relations in Newhouse. Of course, I'm in the honors program, and as for other things on campus, I'm also a part of the Whitman Leadership Scholar community. So I lived in that learning community last year, not Sadler. So if anybody has questions about learning communities, I would be happy to try to take those on. Let's see, I am a part of a couple of clubs, including the Women's Network, which is the club for women of all majors. It is a great opportunity, so I am in that. I write for the Whitman Voices blog, and I am a part of Social Greek Life.
All right, my name is Skye. I'm a rising junior. I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences, and I'm from Northampton, Massachusetts. I came into the honors program the spring of my freshman year, so I entered the program as a sophomore. I'm a dual major as well. I'm in psychology and neuroscience, and I'm gonna try for a minor in CSD, really hoping for that if I have time, and I'm on the pre-med track.
And what is CSD?
Oh, sorry, Communication Sciences and Disorders. So it really looks at like speech, and it kind of ties neuroscience all together with like a practical application. Some other things I'm involved with on campus are Phi Delta Epsilon, which is the professional medical fraternity on campus. Wonderful group, love them, and they've helped me get a lot of my volunteer hours on campus.
Hi, I'm Cameron Edwards. I'm a rising senior studying environmental engineering in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. I'm from Ketchikan, Alaska. So I have a bit of experience coming far from home. And some of the stuff I'm involved in, I've been working in a research lab since fall of my freshman year. And then I've also done like intramural sports. And then I'm also in the engineering honors fraternity. That's a new one. Tau Beta Pi. Yeah, that's the name of it. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. I think we have a couple of general questions about campus life, so I think maybe we can start there, maybe have our students share a little bit of their experiences generally with life on campus, and then we can move into more honors specific questions. We have a question from Ruth. What is the area around campus like?
I can answer that one. So I'm now a junior. I've lived on South Campus, going to live there this year as well. So I take a bus to my apartment and then to and from campus. I love Syracuse. There's a lot to do. And now that I have been able to bring a car to campus, I'm able to do more, but all of that stuff is accessible with public transportation. Like you can get to the fair on the public busing, and I've done that before. And there are often buses through Syracuse University that will take you to those places, which is wonderful because in your freshman year, you don't have a car. So yeah, surrounding area has a lot of restaurants as well, which Blue Monkey is one of my favorites. A lot of stuff to do in Syracuse. You'll never be.
No, thank you for that. And we have a sort of follow-up question on a related note. How comfortable are you walking around at night? We have all sort of female panelists. I think that's especially a good question. How do each of you feel being on campus at night?
I can answer that because that was something that I always thought about when I was visiting colleges. And honestly, I stopped thinking about it as much once I got to Syracuse because, you know, I mean, I don't have a ton of experience not walking around like the campus area at night because I live on campus. But I mean, there were a couple of late nights at the library, that sort of thing. And I never worried about it, honestly. And then also, there is the blue light system at Syracuse, which I think a lot of college campuses have. So they're all around campus and you press the blue light and I'm actually not sure if it's the Department of Public Safety or the local police that, but they will be notified. And then if you go to the next one, it'll track your location, that sort of thing. And then someone will come. I've never personally felt the need to use that or known anyone who has, but of course it is always nice to know that they're there. And then DPS also offers other services. You can call them, they'll drive you home at night, that sort of thing. So overall, I've definitely had a positive experience with safety.
Oh, that's great to know. I'll just chime in that, you know, we are in a small city. If those of you joining in haven't been to Syracuse, we're not in a major metropolitan area. The campus is a very kind of residential, self-contained feel to the campus. We are surrounded by the small city of Syracuse, but that's kind of part of orientation. We get students out in the city, learn how to use the buses, you know, find out where the things are, the restaurants, the great places that you want to access, and as well to really be able to take advantage of all of the different support systems and resources, Department of Public Safety, the Live Safe app, all the things we have in place to keep you safe and comfortable. I think that's an important question to note. Let's see, we also have a couple questions about why each of you chose Syracuse. We also have some questions about Greek life. How prominent is that on campus? So if any of you want to address those two questions.
I can address why I chose here, or try Syracuse, I guess. So for me, I came to visit after my acceptance in spring of my senior year of high school. And I felt right away that, like, it's very cheesy, obviously, but I felt very welcome. I had two one-on-one meetings with professors, kind of talking about what they do, and the kind of the curriculum of environmental engineering. One of those professors that I met with ended up being my faculty advisor for my honors thesis. I feel very close with him. I call him by his first name. And that was something that I felt kind of right away at my meeting there, was that they're not really, sometimes you feel at college campuses that they're just trying to kind of pretend that they're like really interested in you as an individual, but they're not really. But I felt that, even after coming to campus, that I still felt valued as an individual, that my professors are knowing my name. They're, if I miss a class, they might say, they'll come up to me sometimes and be like, hey, is everything okay? Like, what happened? I saw that you missed class. And I felt like that was a very important part of the college experience for me, and something that I feel that Syracuse really strongly shows.
Thank you for that. Anybody else want to talk about sort of making their choice for Syracuse, or if you want to address sort of your experiences maybe with Greek life, we can move on to that question.
Sure, I can take that. So as for why I came to Syracuse, my experience was a little bit different. I had not been accepted when I first visited. I visited in fall of my junior year. And my most prominent memory from that visit is when my mom and I were sitting in an information session in Newhouse, and there were a couple students there, and they were talking about their internship experiences and all these other experiences they had. And my mom and I were just looking at each other, like, because it just sounded like exactly what I had been looking for. And so that kind of excitement, I just didn't feel it at many other schools. And then for me personally, the dual major program was very, very important between Whitman and Newhouse. A lot of other schools, you had the option to sort of apply a second major later, but I didn't really find a lot of other places that were it was so structured, and like they really understood that, you want to do more than one thing. And I am really enjoying that program so far. So that was another important point. As for Greek life, I think that it's about a quarter of students
Usually between 20 and 30% is what we
yeah.
Yeah, that's not the majority.
Right. Yeah. So I think that, obviously Greek life is a part of campus, as it is at many colleges, but I know in my group of friends, there's about 4 of us that were on our floor, and I was the only one who ended up in Greek life. So, and since then I'm still friends with them. I have my friends in Greek life. So I think that it's a good system because it's not too dominant on campus, but it's a great community if that's what you're interested in. So, yeah, I guess that's what I have to say about that.
Great, thank you. And I think when it comes to Greek life, keep in mind that it's one of many different ways to get involved on campus. It might be right for you, and if it's not, you will find other things that are right for you. So I think it's one of many
Absolutely.
good choices that you have. Yeah. So I do want to maybe move us towards some more specific questions for honors. Now I see we have a couple of questions about interdisciplinary research. Specifically from Autumn, she's interested in the intersection between computer science and museum studies. That might be, I'm not sure if we can address that in quite that level of detail tonight, but maybe in general about interdisciplinary research and how that's supported through honors. And maybe Autumn, we can follow up with you after the event tonight. We'll do a little research on some specific things maybe for your particular interests. But in general, kind of coming back, interdisciplinary research, how is that really supported specifically through the lens of the honors program?
I can take that. One of the requirements for honors coursework is that you take an interdisciplinary class. So we very much privilege and pay attention to interdisciplinarity. And if you wanted to do something with museum studies and what was the other half?
Computer science.
Computer science, yes. That would be possible, and we would help you find a mentor so that you could put those two fields together in your senior research thesis. I know that I had a conversation with someone who is in library studies, actually, not quite museum studies, but and she was interested in creating a database of research that's done in the cold case files in the law school. So I said, oh, that would be such an interesting project for an honors student to be involved with the law school cold case archive, and then getting it displayed digitally. So we're looking for the right student to put those pieces together. So the key would be to find a mentor early, and I think that would be very possible. As far as your coursework would go, it would be a stretch. You would be an iSchool student, and you could probably get a museum studies class in your junior and senior year, but it would be most doable with your honors thesis.
There's always a way, even if it's not an official minor necessarily.
Yes.
There are ways to get internship experience or research. There are ways to kind of bring in all of those interests. And we love to hear that when students have really diverse interests, and how do we sort of solve that puzzle and put those pieces together. We've got some good questions in here, so I'll try not to talk too much myself. We have some questions about students' relationships with faculty members. So is there a particularly impactful class or professor, a particular memory that stands out about your interactions with faculty members here at Syracuse?
I've had so many good experiences with professors on campus, especially being in a science major and being pre-health. Sometimes things can get a little overwhelming. And so when I came in to my sophomore year, I was taking intro chemistry, and I had never taken like an actual chemistry class in high school. So coming in, I had like no idea what I should have been prepared for, but I was not prepared. And so my chemistry professor was so amazing, and he hosted like after class I guess, reviews each week, and he had office hours, and I could email him if I was confused. Overall, just a fantastic professor who took me from like crying in the beginning of the semester to really nailing in that I understood chemistry, and now I feel confident that I could go back to him when I'm reviewing for the MCAT. So wonderful professor.
We have faculty members who frequently take honor students on hikes, out to dinner, into their homes during different times. So we definitely see a close bond between many honors faculty and honors students. And
I think you see that a lot. Yeah, you think about Syracuse, sometimes students expect it to be this big community, and it is in many ways, but students quickly kind of carve out these little supportive networks, and you might not expect to be invited to a faculty member's house for dinner or to have that kind of experience at a bigger university. But when you hear from our students, these are things that happen, and you just get connected with those opportunities. Okay, so we have more questions, which are wonderful to see. We have a question regarding the honors program, and does it give you extra help with internships or co-ops? You know, that experience, and if any of our students have had internships already, could you talk to us about maybe how, you know, did honors really help you in those experiences, or did you work more maybe with career services to find those opportunities?
Have you done anything, Mallory?
I have not. No, I'm kind of planning on doing the first internship next summer. So I'm not good for this question, sorry.
Well, I think that students by and large rely on the career services of their individual school or college. It definitely helps if you say I'm an honors student, because honors students have put a very good reputation out in local and national internship programs. So it can definitely help, although the honors program itself does not get involved in internships.
Career services are great though. They're amazing as well. So I'm sure that anybody who's interested will be able to find something that they'll really enjoy and learn a lot from.
Yeah, I suspect, going back to Karen's point from earlier, if you're thinking about research, sort of getting plugged into research opportunities, that's somewhere where your faculty members will really sort of help connect those dots for you. But in general, students will go through career services when it comes to seeking out those internships. Okay, we have a question from a student who's wondering about the civic engagement requirement for honor students. What counts as civic engagement?
What counts? Work with a nonprofit, any nonprofit. It can be church affiliated, religious affiliated, political affiliations. Students do lots of work on campus with the various campus media outlets, the home headquarters. We have a program called Young Scholars, where students go into area high schools and tutor and mentor students of refugee families. That's a very popular one with honor students, and honor students have taken over administration of that in the past as well. You guys want to speak to any other civic engagement that you have done?
I've done a lot of civic engagement through, so like civic engagement through my medical fraternity. So that would be like through the Red Cross, and you can also volunteer at local hospitals, and that's really helpful if you're on the pre-med track for getting clinical hours as well.
And there's a campus ambulance program, which students get lots of hours in. And there are 3 hospitals within, basically on campus. They're very close walking distance. So you can volunteer at those hospitals as well.
So we have 2 kind of related questions moving on here. What are some examples of some hands-on learning projects that have been sort of organized through honors? And then any particular, let's see, favorite events that maybe the honors program has hosted, maybe speakers or fun events that have been maybe outside of the classroom?
A student quite recently studied Japanese and Chinese tattooing practices and wrote a research paper on it. But then she also pulled together a symposium. So there were 4 guest speakers throughout the day. It was quite an event. And she got tattoo artists from Japan and I believe California, and they had experience doing tattooing in China. So that was one that it just came up today. We were just talking about it. Lots of film and video projects. Do you students have anything? So, well, I think of some in particular. No. I'm drawing.
There's the dinner, I think you guys might be doing it online this year, that like first year students have is like an introduction to honors. I remember going to my freshman year, and that was something I really enjoyed, where it was like, you know, one of the honors faculty would sit at your table, and it was a bunch of other honors students. It was a way to get to know other honors students and also get to know some of the honors faculty, and free food as always. Great.
It's always a draw, yeah.
Cameron has reminded me of some of the engineering projects. Some of our engineering students and STEM students have done studies of Onondaga Lake, which has been a super fun site, and a lot of remediation has been going on to clean the lake up. There was also some students studying a green roof on the Civic Center of Syracuse, the city of Syracuse. That was
there's
a
an
project.
Yeah, there's an interest that you have. I think there's a way to make that happen. whatever that might be. Okay, so we still have lots of great questions. So let's see here. Here's a good question about, I guess, time management. Is it difficult to manage your time with double majors, research, working on your thesis, internships, extracurriculars? Any advice that our students might have on that adjustment for the first year? I mean, when I talk to students from the admissions side, I always tell them it is a big adjustment in that first year. It's really exciting when you're presented with so many options, but try to not overextend yourself because it will maybe be a bigger adjustment than even you're expecting. But I really want to hand it over to our students for your advice on how you manage your time so well.
I can answer. I think that for me, I have a paper hard copy planner, and I had to really get a system down as to how I would track things and assignments. So I put just everything in there, and it actually was an adjustment because one thing would carry over to next week and I would forget to write it down, and then I would forget about it and stuff. So that does happen, but I think that learning the kind of time management that works for you is really important. Like for me personally, I know I would last semester, on Thursdays I didn't start until 11, so I knew that I would wake up earlier on that morning and get an assignment done, whereas my roommate probably would have stayed up until 3 the night before to do it, and I'm just not like that. So I had to find out what worked for me. So I think that the first month or so, it obviously, as you said, it is an adjustment, but I think that just figuring out what works for you, and it might not look the same as your roommate or your friends, but I think that just finding out what works for you personally is the most effective way to manage time.
I agree. Planning is definitely your best friend in college. And one of the other things that I've kind of learned in my college experience is that, college is the time when you're going to get to learn your own boundaries, and, you learn that throughout your time. And, I didn't learn that until my sophomore year of, this is how much I can do in this time. And you don't have to do everything all at once. You can go at your own pace, which is why I like being here. Because I have so much on my plate, I can do that at whatever pace I need to go at, and I'm taking summer classes, and you can just plan it out, don't worry about it, and you can get it done.
I think you bring up a great point, relying on your advisors, relying on your resources. I love to hear students say they still use paper planners. I still like to write things down. I try to do type up a list. Is not the same. Give me a piece of paper with a to-do list on it. It works for me too. But for some people, the digital list or the notes in your phone, whatever works for you. And that experimentation is how you figure that out. Okay, so moving along here. Okay, can we talk a little bit more about the senior thesis? What does that involve? How do you choose a topic? What does that process kind of look like? Maybe Karen, if you want to start, and then we can kind of throw it to the students.
Sure, and then we can go to Cameron, who started one.
Perfect.
So in your junior year, we bring everyone together and explain what the thesis is, which is an independent project done under the supervision of a faculty member in your major. So by the time you get to be a junior, hopefully you have taken a number of courses in your major, as well as a methods course that teaches you what kinds of questions and what kinds of creative projects are done within your major. So you've got that coursework experience behind you. So now what you can do is have many, many, many conversations with faculty members, librarians, resources in the library, other students, to talk about what it is that interests you most, and to craft that into a question or a creative project. The junior year is really for finding the topic and finding a mentor to work with. The senior year is implementation and then presentation. That's the general process to go through it. Cameron, do you want to talk about, because you mentioned that you were going to do a thesis with the person that you met early on.
Yeah, so the way mine kind of worked out was I had started this project my freshman year, and I did a poster on it summer after my freshman year, and then we kind of forgot about it. And then as I was starting to have thesis discussions with my faculty advisor, I was kind of like, I kind of did all this work and then never really did anything with it. And I was like, can I do some more work on that? Can I, how could we bulk this up into a thesis? And that's kind of what my work has been in. Mine, I work in a soils lab, which obviously won't, be applicable to probably most of you in this chat. But so mine is more, it's more science research based. So I'm working in a lab, and then I'm producing data, and then I'll be writing a, roughly 25-page. That's just pure text, double-spaced research paper about that. And I know other people, because I'm also friends with quite a few people in honors, that they didn't really start thinking about it until their junior year, and kind of getting a faculty advisor like their junior year, and they're also doing well. So you don't have to start early like me.
I was in a session last year with a faculty member from the College of Arts and Sciences, and she was talking to students about research, and that idea can be intimidating. So if those of you joining the session are thinking, how will I decide on a research topic? Maybe I'm not sure yet, but the way she framed it, which I thought was really genius, was that think about a research topic in terms of a problem that you'd like to solve. And I think that immediately makes it more accessible. You can kind of wheels start turning there. What's a problem that you might like to solve? And if you think of it that way, that might kind of lead you down a path towards a particular thesis topic, along with conversations from your faculty advisors, of course, too. We have about 15 minutes remaining in the chat, so I want to make sure we get to everyone's questions. If we don't have a chance to answer your question tonight, you'll see that we've got admissions general email on the screen, as well as email address for the honors program. If you'd like to connect with our students, we can sort of facilitate that through those email addresses, but we'll try to answer everyone's questions during the time that we have remaining tonight. Here's a great question. How does the honors program in particular support students' entrepreneurial efforts? And is it common for students to get together for new innovative ideas and to explore that? Generally speaking, I can say yes, entrepreneurship is a big spirit of what we do here at Syracuse, whether students are pursuing that as a major or minor, or that's just an interest that we have. We know that students of your generation are likely to be entrepreneurs, are likely to create your own sort of positions and jobs, rather than necessarily think of in terms of working for a particular company, that you're very likely to create your own opportunities. So that spirit is alive and well at Syracuse, certainly, but I'll defer to Karen and to our students for more specific examples, maybe about entrepreneurial pursuits from our students.
Again, that would be something that a student could develop a senior thesis around, and have grant money available to you to kind of begin and fuel your startup. I was thinking of a media program that a student did on, it was a magazine focused on music in Africa. And so she was dealing firsthand with all kinds of musicians, and put together a wonderful online digital magazine that is going to carry forward. So that's very typical of what our Newhouse students are capable of doing and are doing every year. Our Whitman students have begun organizations that have continued on. An organization.
Think about the show Shark Tank. I know we've had several students come from Whitman pitching ideas on that particular show. I don't watch it, but I know a lot of people do.
Mallory, are you involved in any organizations in Whitman that you know of that were started by students?
I am not this year, no. entrepreneurship, I don't believe that I'm creative enough to be in entrepreneurship. So I know that it is very popular. I know that a lot of students have great ideas. They're encouraged to pursue them, that sort of thing. But personally, I don't have a lot of experience with those sorts of organizations yet, anyways.
A student also started an organization in Newhouse where it's an agency where nonprofits in the city can come and who need communications work, and they can get that for free done by students who then, you know, take them on as clients.
Okay, so, you know, in general, yes, that spirit of entrepreneurship is alive and well. Feel free to email us. We can connect you. You know, we do our best to give you as many real life examples as we can. You can always email us and we can fill you in with more details about the cool things our students are doing. In the remaining time that we have left here, I see we have a few more questions. Let's see, these two maybe we can ask together. For our students, what made you want to participate in honors? And how do maybe campus traditions, especially those within honors, maybe kind of fit with your values and your priorities as a university student? Maybe we can answer those two together. So why honors, and how does the program kind of fit with your values and the things that are important to you?
I can answer this one. So one of the things, I don't know if it was mentioned, was that honor students they'll get to pick their classes. I think it's after seniors, and then after athletes, they're like the third that get to pick their classes. So you're going to get class priority, which is really nice. And then as well, there's quite a few honors classes that are like Chem 101, but honors, which is what I took. And it was a smaller class size. And I learned quite a bit more than I would if I had taken normal chemistry 1, just because of the small class size and I think the teacher teaching it as well. And those two things were really nice for me, was that I was able to, you know, my schedule, I was able to have a, you know, better schedule, and then also those smaller class sizes for those required classes I was needed to take.
Class size was also a big factor for me. Being in a science major, or like especially psych, I wanted to ask a lot of questions, and when you're in a lecture of like 200 plus students, it can be really hard to do that, and sometimes it feels like you might be interrupting the professor, whereas in like a smaller class, it's easier for me to, like there's more of like a dialogue between the students and the professor. And with a writing class I took, Writing 209, it was nice to have that class because it was definitely hard for me, and it pushed me further than I might have gone on my own in a regular class. And it took a lot of effort for me, but it really improved my writing. And I really respect the teacher for making me ask these larger questions.
I can answer as well. I think for the why honors, I mean, it's just a great opportunity. I mean, you get access to even more resources, more faculty members, other students. That was something that was nice for me because I came into college with a lot of AP credits, so I didn't take a lot of gen eds. So I was immediately with people just in my in the communications and business school. So honors is a great way for me to meet people in the sciences or in those different majors that I don't get to interact with as much. So that was an important point for me as well.
Awesome, thank you. So we have just about 10 minutes remaining. We have 2 pending questions right now. Here's a little bit different question than what we've answered before. What's the political scene like at Syracuse? Do you feel like there are multiple viewpoints represented on campus? Are students politically active? What are your take as students on the political scene as we move into an election here in the US? What is your take on that environment on campus?
Definitely a lot of different political views at Syracuse, and I have friends that are on, I don't know the exact name of it, but they're on like the student board for student life, I guess. So you can be involved with Syracuse politics essentially and work towards like, I guess it's like student council, I guess, but for Syracuse. So it's very big, but yeah, you can be on that board and you can be active in what you want for like the school to do for its students.
I would definitely agree with that. And then there's also college Democrats and college Republicans are two clubs on campus. They're both pretty sizable. And so of course, students can feel free to join either of those organizations, and they have a lot of activities. I know they do a debate every year. So I think that students are definitely able to express whatever views that they might have personally.
Yeah, I would say it's also a fairly politically active campus as well. I know there was a climate walkout last semester, and then as well as some not against you protests standing up against administration, which I feel like is really important that people here feel comfortable voicing their views and opinions when they feel that they're not being represented in administration.
Awesome, thank you. And we encourage that student activism. We want you to feel strongly and to connect with other people who share or maybe can challenge your views. That's all part of the experience for sure. We have one more pending question and kind of bring everything full circle after that. How does the advising system work with the honors program? So students will have a faculty advisor in their major. How does their honors advisor sort of fit with that advising structure?
Sure. You'll be assigned an advisor in your first year, and you'll stay with that person throughout your 4-year career. We're an additional advisor. You start to stack up a lot of advisors, especially if you're like Mallory and you're in 2 different schools. So you'll have a home school or college advisor who will help you stay on track for for graduation within that program. And then you have a faculty advisor in your major. And then you have your honors advisor who helps you with all things honors and also can help direct traffic flow, so that if you're not sure who to go to, many times students come to us first, and then we'll direct you to whomever you need, whatever office or whatever person you need to speak with. So we're an additional non-required meeting place to help you figure out what you need to do and how to get it done.
Okay, so that concludes the questions. We have a few more minutes remaining, and I wanted to thank all of the students and parents and family members who have joined us here this evening on this beautiful summer evening. We know there are a lot of things competing for your time and attention, and we do really appreciate you spending time with us. If you have questions that are more in-depth that you'd like to talk more with one of us about, I'm Lisa Renée from Admissions. If you missed the intro in the beginning, you can connect with our office, the admissions office at orange@syr.edu, the address you see on your screen. And of course, you can connect with the honors program at honors@syr.edu. So it looks like we're good on questions. So I'd also, of course, like to thank our panelists for spending their time here this evening. I can share your stories, but it's never quite the same as really hearing it directly from students and faculty members and staff who work with the honors program. So thanks to each of you for spending part of your evening here with us. And for you students and parents and family members, keep in touch. This is not the only time you'll have to connect with us. We're offering a host of varied thematic sessions, whether it's general admissions, academic program specific, campus life, things like that. We're happy to provide those sessions as well as to connect with you by email. So thank you once again for joining us this evening. Stay in touch. We look forward to hearing from you again in the future. So have a wonderful evening, everyone.